आनंद मानंद कर प्रसन्नम प्रेम स्वरूपम ब्रज भावयुक्तम योगीन्द्रमीड्यम भवरोग वैद्यम गुरुं कृपालुं प्रणमामि नित्यम्। राधा करावचित पल्लव वल्लरी के राधा पदांक विलसन मधुरस्थली के राधा यशो मुखरमत खगावली के राधा विहार विपिने रमता मनो में यो ब्रह्माणं विदधाति पूर्वं यो वै वेदांश्च प्रहिणोति तस्मै तद्ग्वंह देवमात्मबुद्धिप्रकाशं मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये। Bhagavad Charana Chanchari, Mahanbhav, dear devotees, we are going to start. Some Leelas of Sri Maharajji today on the request of the devotees over here, but as per rule, we will chant for a couple of minutes and then we will come on the subject. भजो गिरिधर गोविंद गोपाला 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 भजो मुरली मनोहर नंदलाला भजो मुरली मनोहर नंदलाला भजो मोर मुकुट मुरली वाला भजो मोर Gopala. Bhajo Giridhar Govind 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 Gopala. Bhajo Gopala. Bhajo Gopala. Oh, Bhajo Gopala. Bhajo Gopala. Bhajo Gopala. Bhajo Gopala. Bhajo Bhajo Gopala. Bhajo Bhajo Gopala. Bhajo Oh, Bhajo Gopala. Bhajo Gopala. Bhajo Gopala. Bhajo Gopala. Bhajo Gopala. Oh, Bhajo Gopala. Bhajo Gopala. Oh, Bhajo Gopala. Bhajo Gopala. Bhajo Gopala. Bhajo Gopala. Oh, Bhajo Gopala. Bhajo Gopala. Oh, Bhajo Gopala. Bhajo Gopala. Oh, Bhajo Gopala. Oh, Bhajo Gopala. Bhajo Gopala. Bhajo Gopala. Bhajo Giridhar Govind Gopala. So Bhajo Giridhar Govind Gopala. बोलिए वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय। श्रीमद् सतगुरु सरकार की जय। जय जय श्री राधे। जय जय श्री राधे। जय जय श्री राधे। From today on, you want to listen to the Leelas of Sri Maharajji. While Sri Maharajji is such a personality that about who even Sri Maharajji cannot tell fully. It is my challenge. Why? Because his attributes are divine. He is the divine personality and his attributes are divine. And divine attributes cannot be described with the material words. If Maharaji speaks even in divine words, then we have no capacity to receive it. And if he is talking in material words, he is telling about himself in material words, then it can never be completed. It's not enough to say about the attributes, about the Leelas of Sri Maharajji. But you love Sri Maharajji a lot, and this is the reason why even a child in his lisping language talks about Sri Maharajji's Leela, you become very happy and you gladly want to listen to that. And secondly, his attributes, his Leelas, his lifestyle, and everything is so enchanting that everybody wants to know, to listen, and to say about him. You want to hear about Sri Maharajji, and I am also not less eager to talk about Sri Maharajji. Tulsidas ji wrote a line, Chudra nadi bhari chale tarai, janu thore hu dhan khal borai. The meaning of this line is, the small rivers start flooding very soon. After a little rain, they start flooding. Janu thore hu dhan khal borai. Like if a immensely poor person attains some money, then he also becomes intoxicated. Like, oh, now I am rich. I have $500. He says like that. Sri Maharajji was telling once in his lecture, there was a mouse and he got a note of 1 rupee. Somehow he got a bill of 1 rupee. And he took that 1 rupee note and sat down in the center of a street. And by the way, the procession of the king was coming from there. He was sitting on the elephant. So when the elephant crossed that place, because elephant is very big, that by the way, he crossed the mouse. His foot did not come on the mouse, and he crossed the mouse. And when he crossed the mouse said, "Hey, don't you see? I am sitting on the bill of 1 rupee." In the same way, whatever I know about Maharaji is not even a drop. But I feel, because you guys were not in the beginning of Maharaji's Leelas, and I was there, that's why I have a pride probably. I have an ego that I know more than you, because that time you were not there. So how can you know about Maharaji Leela about that time? And I know about them, not fully. Although I'm very fortunate to be there, to be with Sri Maharajji from my infant age. I grew up in front of Sri Maharajji. I saw many Leelas of Sri Maharajji, and I got lots of love of Sri Maharajji. I am very fortunate about that. But still, seeing him day and night, I could remember very little. I cannot remember each and every Leela of Maharaji, which I used to say day and night. But the main things, whatever I could remember from all those Leelas, I will try my best to narrate it over here. Before I go to the Leela history of Sri Maharajji. First of all, I will give a general and brief introduction of Sri Maharajji, and after that, I will start step by step the Leelas which I know, which I could understand, which I remember, and some of them which I heard from Sri Maharajji or his devotees. As all of you know, that Sri Maharajji was born in the holy land of Mangar, and the name of his parents was Sri Lalta Prasad Tripathi, and mother's name was most respectful Bhagavati Ma. They were the parents of Sri Maharajji. And Sri Maharajji was the fifth child of Bhagavati Ma and Sri Lalta Prasadji Tripathi. In the beginning, he started his education in a school which was in Mangar, few steps away from the house of Sri Maharajji. He studied over there up to 5th class. And after that, he went to Kunda to start his studies in a middle school. He passed over there 6th class. After having, after passing the examination of 6th class, he went with his brother, the eldest brother, Ram Naresh Tripathi, to Mahu. When he was a little child, his leelas, his acts, his naughty actions, everything was amazing. I will talk about all those things later. I'm just giving you an introduction. And he was extremely naughty, and nobody could think that he can be a promising boy in future. Everybody was thinking, I don't know what he will do. He's so naughty. He doesn't like to go to school. When he goes to school, he never studies over there properly. All the teachers are making the complaints against him. I don't know what he's going to do. Everybody was very much worried. So once Bhagavati Maya, she asked a Pandit who came to visit her, to see his kundali, and I want to know that what he is going to do in his future, because he does nothing. I feel like he's just a naughty boy. And then when he saw that, he was amazed to see the attributes of Maharajji, and he could not say to Bhagavati Maya, but he said that I have never seen this kind of kundali, because these attributes are seen only in God. It seems like this is the kundali of God, and it is not possible. I know that he is not God. Pandit was also saying that, but I don't know why the kundali is showing all the attributes of God, all the attributes of Mahavishnu in Sri Maharajji. And after that, accomplishing the education up to 6th class, he went to Mahu with his brother Ram Nareshji, and over there he accomplished many very difficult degrees, very rare degrees, and each degree takes at least 5 years to accomplish. But Sri Maharajji attained all those degrees in 11 years. Like, he attained the degree of Kavya Tirth. Kavya Tirth means master of muse, the master of poetries. He knows the science of poetry. It is a science. There is a science of poetry which is called Kavya Tirth. He accomplished the degree of Kavya Tirth. He accomplished the degree of Sahityacharya, the master of literature. He accomplished the degree of Vyakaranacharya, the master of Sanskrit grammar, and Ayurvedacharya. He attained the degree of the master of Ayurveda as well. the science of Ayurveda. And when he got these degrees, every time he attained the highest marks, and he was always honored as the best student in all the schools, wherever he went to attain any degree. Everybody was amazed. Besides that, he attained many other degrees and many other competitions of slok competition, and the poetry competition, this and that. And he was expert in horse riding, and in the art of playing stick, etc. He attained many other degrees, that is the matter apart. But he attained all these very rare degrees within 11 years. And at the age of 16, the tender age of 16, he left home. All of a sudden, at 2 o'clock, he left the home and he entered the dense forests of Chitrakoot. Mahu is very near from Chitrakoot. So he entered the forest of Chitrakoot, Ansuya, etc. And he lived over there like an ascetic, as if he is completing his austerity. He acted like that. And when he was doing all that, when he was pretending like he is completing his sadhana, he's doing his sadhana, he's doing his austerity, that time he was so much engrossed in ecstasy of divine love that he had no inkling of his physical presence. As it was described by the many satsangis who were living in Mahu, they said when he was wandering in the forest of Chitrakoot, that time, all the time, because he used to be in ecstasy, he had he never felt the need of eating food or drinking water or anything. All the time he was in ecstasy, and gradually lost his clothes also. He was wearing only a dhoti, and after some time he was seen completely exposed. He was not wearing even a dhoti, nothing at all. And he didn't know where he is going, who is he. He was not talking to anyone, he was not asking for anything. But gradually he was just proceeding from one jungle to another jungle. So he went Ansuya, and after that, he went to Charkhari, Jhansi, etc. Many places. He crossed the jungles of many cities, and eventually he reached his main destination of Vrindavan. On the way, also, many people saw, whoever saw him in this condition. He was a young boy, 16 years old, wearing no clothes, but there was so much effulgence on the face of Sri Maharajji, and the personality was so attractive, so divine, that everybody was getting impressed on Sri Maharajji. And it was also said by them that in one village, when he reached over there, they stopped him, but he was not listening to anybody. They stopped him, and he stopped over there. They gave water to drink. He drank water, and then they put some clothes on Shri Maharajji. He didn't say anything. And then they brought some food, and he kept on eating. There are lots of food, and he kept on eating. When he ate food of at least 15, 16 people, then they took away the food, because then they thought he does not know what he is doing, and they took away the food. And then again he went in the same condition. That is called Paramhansa Avastha. Paramhans means who has no idea, who has no consciousness of his own body, whose mind is always engrossed in love of God. And any kind of physical things, like either it is winter or it's rainy, or it is too hot, it is too cold, or hunger or thirst, nothing bothers them. Such kind of personalities are called Paramhans. So everybody used to say the little boy, he is a Paramhans. When he reached Vrindavan, the people saw him in this condition, that he was always in ecstasy, because they had some idea of this kind of ecstatic age of the devotees. Because there are many Rasik saints who took birth in Vrindavan. They were the Rasik saints of Braj. And about them they used to read. They never saw before this kind of condition of any devotee, but they heard about the Rasiks of Braj, and they had an idea that this is something unique, something exclusive, and this boy is not an ordinary person. Definitely is a divine personality. So they got a good chance. They got this privilege to serve Sri Maharajji as they wanted to serve. Because Maharajji didn't know what someone is doing for them. If people were bringing food and they were feeding him, he was eating. If they were giving bath to Sri Maharajji, he was having bath. If they were doing anything for Sri Maharajji, he was letting them do, but he didn't know what other people are doing. In that way, sometimes he was going to Banshibhat, sometimes to Yamunaji, sometimes somewhere. In that way, he was always doing kirtan and being in ecstasy, falling down and again, being unconscious. This went on for about 1 year. And after that, I think by inspiration of Sri Maharajji, some other people came. When they came to know that, I heard that Rasik saints are like that, but we never saw before. But I am seeing now that this is the condition of Rasik Singh. Vagadgada dravate yasya chittam rudatyabhikshram hasati kvachiccha vilajya udgayati nrityate cha madbhakti yukto bhuvanam punati. These are the symptoms of a Rasik Singh, that sometimes they sing and their throat is choked, sometimes they get unconscious and fall um, uh, on the road or on the earth, and sometimes when they laugh they keep on laughing, then they cry, they keep on crying, sometimes they scream and they run here to there saying ha Krishna, ha Priyatam, etc. They heard about this condition of the Rasik saints, but for the first time they saw it, and they requested Maharajji to come out. They said, "What are you doing here in the forest? Definitely you came here. You descended on this earth to deliver us. That's why. Please come out." Then on their request, Shri Maharajji came. First he came to Mathura, then he went to Agra. Then on the request of Lakshman Swarupji, he went to Allahabad. And then from Allahabad he came to Pratapgarh, where my father was living. When he reached over there, up to that time he was in Paramhansa Avastha. But gradually he controlled himself. And in Pratapgarh, he started eating and taking bath himself. But there was no routine of Maharajji. Nobody could say that what time he will eat, what time he will sleep, what time he will wake up. When Kirtan was starting, sometimes whole night, sometimes up to midnight, nobody could say that how long the Kirtan will go. And there was not even one day when Maharajji was not seen in Bhavavesh Samadhi, in ecstasy. When they come in ecstasy, they forget about their body and they get completely engrossed in the love divine. That avastha is called Bhavavesh avastha. And Shri Maharajji used to go every day in Bhavavishavastha at least 4-5 times. It was not necessary that when Kirtan is going on or somebody is talking about God, only then he will be in ecstasy. No, anytime. He is sitting with his devotees, talking with them about anything, any other thing, no conversation about God, but still he was coming in ecstasy anytime, 4-5 times every day. Maharajji was not giving any lecture, but his personality was so effective, so full of devotion. Everybody was observing the devotion, and it was affecting the hearts of all the devotees. They were learning everything from the practical stage of Sri Maharajji. He was not giving any lecture, just in that way, in the beginning, from Vrindavan and in the beginning of Pratapgarh, Sri Maharajji, whatever he was giving, it was especially for the deserving souls. Because the Leelas, the stage of Sri Maharajji at that time was not understandable by the laymen, by other people. Only most sanskari, those who are really deserving, who have attained something in their previous lives, who know something about devotion from their previous life, only they could appreciate the attitude of Sri Maharajji. So that time was the time of deserving soul, and they got so much opportunity to serve Maharajji in many ways. They never, no, they were very close, very, very close to Sri Maharajji. And most of them, they were loving Maharajji like their son or something like that, mostly because Maharajji, most of the people, they love Sri Maharajji like their son. So it was the starting of Maharajji's mission. And after that, he saw, because that time most of the satsangis, they reached at a very high stage of devotion. As I remember, whenever the kirtan was going on, each and every person was crying like anything. It's not that secretly couple of tears are shedding from their eyes. No, you could hear the noise of crying of all the people. They were bewailing. Sometimes they were rolling on the earth. Now it cannot even be imagined what used to be the condition of mostly all the devotees. I would say that many of the devotees reached to the stage of Bhav Bhakti, but in lack of the knowledge of philosophy, they fell down also. If they got a little bit of kusang, only the little bit of kusang confused them. And they were so much confused about the personality of Sri Maharajji that they stopped coming in satsang. When Maharajji saw some devotees falling down like this, then he realized that it is also indispensable to give them the knowledge of philosophy. But when he was in Pratapgarh, he was giving the knowledge not by the lectures. Sometimes when he was just talking to the devotees used to sit very close to Maharajji and they were talking to Sri Maharajji. And in those talks, Sri Maharajji was giving lots of knowledge of devotion. Mostly he was giving the secrets, the absolute knowledge of devotion by his own character, by his own actions. But sometimes he was clarifying also the most secret points of devotion as well. So he was giving some knowledge gradually, but still he saw that no, they need more knowledge. Gradually, what he did, he stopped giving the rush of devotion as he was doing before. Like most of the time, he used to be in ecstasy before. Now he controlled. He controlled everything, and he was not giving that devotion to everyone so early as well. When I was small, I asked Maharajji, Maharajji, long time ago, everybody was coming in ecstasy, they were befailing, they were 3, 3, 4 hours, 5 hours, whole night people were crying, Ha Krishna, Ha Priyatam, saying like that. I don't see that. Where has it gone? Mahadji gave the answer. That time I was plundering the rust to everyone. Whoever was coming in my association, I was plundering the rust to everyone without any discrimination. But now I stopped it. I give the same rust to the devotees according to their level of devotion now. That's why I'm giving more lecture, so that they can understand the philosophy. Anything cannot move them from their stage. If you see someone that his stage of devotion is very high, we cannot say that he is a very good sadhak, he is a high class devotee. We cannot say. Sri Maharajji said, you can recognize a high class devotee if he is stable on his stage. You are here, or here, or here, or here. Doesn't matter. If you are over here, but you are firm at this stage, you will never come down from this stage, then you are a good sadhak. After that, if you go to this stage and you are firm at this stage, no matter what kind of kusang you hear or see, you never use your mind, you never come down, you never do any namaprad. If you doubt about the actions or the behavior or the character of your guru, it is namaprad. And bhavopya bhavamayati Krishna prestha paradhata, Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu is saying, even if you have reached the highest stage of bhav bhakti and you did some offense against your guru, nama aparad, you will immediately come down. You will lose all your devotion. It is so dangerous. That's why later on Sri Maharajji started writing everything, all the Sankirtan, all the Pad, all the Kirtan, with the philosophy, with the knowledge of philosophy. And he stopped giving the same rus to everyone. And then, when he became a little more famous, people started inviting Sri Maharajji. In some conventions, etc., he went in some religious conventions, and he saw that even the saints who are very famous as a very high class saint, they were also not giving any knowledge of the Vedas in a correct way. They were misleading people. They were giving wrong knowledge. And the most popular teaching was how to behave with your elders, speak truth, be honest, love everyone, be sympathetic to everyone. This was the knowledge given by the saints. They were not talking about how to realize God. What is the ultimate goal of your life? Nobody was talking about it. There were many saints. They were saints. They were very famous. And they were saying in their speech that if you really want to attain Swarg, the heaven, then you have to do this, this, this. They had no knowledge that heaven is also a material planet. They had no knowledge. When Sri Mahadji saw all that, when he went in couple of Sammelan, in conventions, and he saw this is the knowledge of the saints. So it means the entire public is badly misled. They need some guidance, proper guidance. Then Shri Maharajji wrote the first Siddhant, Frameless Siddhant, and he started giving the lectures also. So after writing the Siddhant, then Maharajji wrote Frameless Madeira also, and then he started giving lecture. Then many people started inviting Sri Maharajji, and he was giving the lecture in series of 1 month, 21 days or 30 days, 25 days, in that way. And then in that way, he was providing the knowledge of the Vedas and all the scriptures in the beginning. He started his prachar like this. Gradually he did. Mahadji was not singing his own bhajan because he did not write even one bhajan. The first bhajan of Sri Maharajji, on the request of my elder sister Ushaji, was Darshan Dena Nand Dulare. And after that, after some time, he wrote Apnapan Rakhna Mere Ghansham. Then he wrote the entire first part of Prem Ras Madira. And you will be amazed to know that once, because my sister was insisting again and again, Mahadji, why should we sing the bhajan of other saints? Why don't you write? You write your own bhajan. Then once Maharajji was coming from Allahabad to Pratapgarh in the train. It was 1.5 hour journey. In that period of 1.5 hour journey, Maharajji wrote 300 pads of first part of Madeira in 1.5 hour. And he reached Pratapgarh in the night time. In the morning, when everybody came and the courtyard and we were going to have the breakfast, then Mahadji said, Usha, I brought something very nice for you. You will be very happy to see it. And she said, what did you bring for me? Then Mahadji opened those pages, 3-4 pages, and said, see, I have written 300 bhajans. When they saw those papers, everybody was laughing like that. Mahadji, they are bhajan? You have written something? This is your writing? Yeah. Who can read it? Urmila ji was my elder sister. She was laughing like anything. Maharaji, it looks like there's a beat of the birds. What have you written? Who can read it? If you have written it, it will be good for you only. Then Maharaji said, no, sit down here. Then Maharaji called my elder sister Urmila, Ushaji, and my father. He said, I will read and you will write. In that way, 3 copies were prepared for the first time when Maharajji wrote 300 bhajan. And after that, when he went to Assam to my cousin brother for 3 months, then he wrote the rest of the entire Prem Ras Madeira book. So this was the beginning, how he started his prachar. But as you know that Sri Maharajji is a divine personality, But I'm just giving the initial introduction that when Maharajji came here, naturally his aim was spiritual enhancement. He wanted to give the divine love bliss. This was the only purpose of his descension, because he took birth on the day of Sharat Purnima at 12. It shows that what was the mission of Maharajji descent at this time. So this was his previous life, from his studies and how he started uh, his prachar. But now I am going to talk about his deeds. What did he do when he came? What did he do? What are his doings? What special things he did in his lifetime? So naturally, because he is a spiritual personality, so he did mainly all the deeds were spiritual, and besides that, there were other kind of actions also which were done for the welfare of the public by Sri Maharajji. Although it seems like there are some deeds of Maharajji, they are spiritual, they are religious, but there are some deeds which are material as well, but nothing which is done by Sri Maharajji is material. The purpose of everything is divine, is to reach everyone to God. But I'm just giving you a brief introduction of what did he do when he came on this earth, from the beginning to up to the end of his this physical life. So Maharajji's, I will talk about his spiritual deeds, whatever he did, whatever he accomplished, and whatever he gave to us. If we talk about his spiritual deeds, so as I have already explained, that the main purpose was to give the divine love bliss to the mankind. So in the beginning he was giving that thing by doing himself, and after that he started teaching us by his lectures as well. He was giving the lectures, and he was giving the practice as well. So he started his spiritual things from his own actions, and gradually, when he realized that they need some philosophical knowledge as well, then he started giving the lecture, and after that he thought, because the entire country is like that, none, there's no one in the entire country in India who was giving the right knowledge, and he alone could not go everywhere. Although every month he was going somewhere for his lecture series, but still it was not possible for him alone to propagate the philosophy in the entire country, entire nation. That's why then he thought that he has to prepare some pracharaks as well. So he did this prachar by himself, by singing. In the beginning, only by singing. He was singing, and most of the time he was in ecstasy. But later on, for the welfare of the public, he started doing kirtan himself. He was doing kirtan on dholak. He was leading kirtan on dholak. And when he was leading kirtan, he was singing kirtan. By his actions, by his ecstasy, by the symptoms of love, he was teaching everything. Gradually, he started giving lecture. In the beginning, he was not giving lecture at all. When people were saying, insisting that Maharaji, please give some lecture to us, then he was sitting like this. If somebody was insisting too much, then he was sitting like this, closing his eyes, and he started giving lecture. And then it was taking 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours. Nobody knew that when he is going to finish. Once he was giving the lecture in my home, my father, mother was sitting, and all the sangis were sitting. When it went on up to 12 or 1 o'clock. Gradually, the satsangis started going to their homes. And in the morning, they came back and Maharajji's lecture was continued. He was speaking like that. Once I remember, I feel very sorry that I was so small at that time that I don't remember even one word of that lecture of Maharajji. But Maharajji was given. There was a lady of Kanpur. Her name was Sushila ji, and she was very bhavuk. She's a very high class devotee, and she was insisting, Maharajji, please give some, talk something, give us, tell us something about Gopi Prem. Mahadji was saying, don't tell me to talk about Gopi Prem. But he said, no, Mahadji, I have to hear from you. I want to know about Gopi Prem. Then Mahadji started giving lecture on Gopi Prem. All the satsangis were crying like anything, and Mahadji himself was crying all the time. So the nectar of love was just raining over there. I just remember that much. I don't remember even a word of that lecture because I was only 3 years old at that time. So Maharajji was giving knowledge in the beginning like this, and after that he started giving lecture. Then he started writing the Siddhant. And when Maharajji thought to write a book, the first book, Premras Siddhant, when he wrote the first book, the first edition of Premras Siddhant, he emphasized the practical aspects of devotion, mostly in that. Although he covered the other points of philosophy as well, but it was not in that sequence, and mostly he touched the practical aspects of devotion. And then probably he realized, no, they need more knowledge of philosophy. Without Tattva Gyan means knowledge of philosophy. Without Tattva Gyan, no one can successfully tread on the path of devotion. Then, in second edition, he put more philosophy, the initial philosophy, to tread on the path of devotion. And in third edition, he rectified everything and he started from the very beginning. Whatever a devotee has to do to attain the ultimate goal of life, he put everything in a very nice sequence. Like starting from Manavde, Jeev ka charam lakshya, the aim of life, and then when you know about aim of life, then the knowledge about Brahma ka Swarup, and then Bhagavad Kripa, Sharanagati, Sansar ka Swarup, Mahapurush, Karma, Gyan, Bhakti, Jeev ka Swarup, and then Kusang. He covered the entire philosophy in a small book of Prem Ras Siddhant. If you read just one book of Prem Ras Siddhant, you can get the answer of all your questions. It's my challenge. When you read the book, Prem Ras Siddhant, when you will read first chapter, probably you will have a question in your mind. I don't understand this. What Shri Maharaj is saying over here. If you have any question, write it down and keep on reading. Don't jump from first page to fifth page or one chapter to fourth chapter and then eighth chapter and then one chapter. Don't do like that. Go. Read it like textbook. And if any question comes in your mind, write it down. After 3-4 pages, you will see the answer. And if you don't find the answer after 3-4 pages, definitely in the next chapter, you will find the answer of your question. The answer of all the question of an aspirant is written in Prem Ras Siddhant. That is the initial book of Sri Maharajji, to know that what an individual soul has to do when we take birth as a human being. As a human being only. When we take birth as a human being, then what should we do? How can we accomplish bliss? How can we accomplish the ultimate goal of our life? You will find step by step the entire philosophy in that book. But Sri Maharajji has written one more book which is most significant, and it is very hard to comprehend. But the most abstruse part of devotion are written in that book. That is Sevak Sevya Siddhant. I read it 3-4 times, and I read it for others as well, a couple of times. And I found, I told it to Maharajji as well, that I have never seen such kind of knowledge in any other scripture of Bhakti. The most important scripture of Bhakti is written by Rup Goswami Ji, the disciple of Mahaprabhu Chaitanya. And the names of those scriptures is Ujjwal Neelmani and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. These two books are very important, but the philosophy of devotion, the philosophy of divine love is not written in such a simple way, in such a nice way in any book. If you read Ujjwal Neelmani, if you read some Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it is very, very hard to understand it. But Sri Maharajji has written the same philosophy in Hindi, in Sevak Sevya Siddhant, which is understandable by anyone. That is also, but Mahadji never gave this book, he never opened this book for all because he knew that everybody cannot understand. This book was given specifically to someone who Maharajji wanted to give. I hope most of you have the book who are old Satsangis. Maharajji gave them Sevak Sevya Siddhant. So, this is what he did in a spiritual sphere. He gave satsang, and he made us understand that what is devotion, how should we practice devotion, what are the main part of the devotion, like Rup Dhyan, etc. How would you do, what is Bhav Bhakti, and what will happen after Bhav Bhakti. He gave this knowledge, then had knowledge to us, and then he wrote Sevak Sevya Siddhant as well, and then he made many other books too. And second thing, what he did, which was not done by any saint in the history so far. There are many Rasik saints in Braj. They descended in Braj. And they have written beautiful books of pastimes of Radha Krishna. They are full of Madhurya Bhav. They are very high class books. But none of them written any poetic book in which the entire philosophy is written in sequence. He wrote Premras Siddhant with the philosophy in sequence. That is not that amazing. But he wrote Premras Madeira, the book of poetry, also in the sequence. So that if somebody is going to start practicing devotion, he would know that at what step, what he has to do. Like, first of all, he has written in Premras Madeira, there are 1008 pad. Pad means, pad is the slang of padya in Sanskrit, and padya means poetry. So he wrote 1008 8 poetries in Frameless Madeira, and he divided them in 21 madhuris. Madhuri means sweetness. So he divided them in 21 madhuris. The first madhuri is Arti Madhuri. Why did he write Arti? I don't know the culture of this country, but in India, it is a tradition that whenever you go to school, the first thing what we had to do was prayer. Just to make up your mind, now you are going to do something. So prayer was must. So if we are going to start our sadhana towards Lord Shri Krishna, Shri Radha, then we have to do their arti. So it means we are bringing them in our mind, in our heart. Because without bringing them in your heart, how can you start your devotion? As Maharajji explained it at many places, that Roop Dhyan Pranasan. Roop Dhyan is the pran, is the life of your sadhana. Without Roop Dhyan, no matter how much kirtan you do and how long you do, you will get 0 marks. So, to bring Radha Krishna in the heart first, we do Arti. So, he wrote Arti Madhuri first of all. And then, Adav Shraddha Tata Sadhu Sangota Bhajana Kriya. The Bhagavad is saying, if you want to worship God, if you want to practice devotion, then first of all, you need Shraddha. Adav Shraddha. Shraddha means faith. What kind of faith? That this path is right. And this Guru is right. And now it is right that there is no happiness in this material world. And to attain happiness, we have to go towards God. This is the fundamental knowledge. Without this knowledge, we cannot worship God. If you still think there is happiness in this material world, then how would you be detached from this world? If you are not getting detached from this world, then how would you get attached to God? And being attached to God is devotion. To be detached from the world and to be attached to God, we need Shraddha. We need Vishwas, faith. We need philosophy for that. So in Siddhant Madhuri, the first Madhuri, the sweetness of the philosophy. Siddhant Madhuri. In Siddhant Madhuri, giving the quotations of all the scriptures. Sometimes he translated the quotations and sometimes he literally put the whole quotation in his book. Giving all the quotation, he taught us that there is no happiness in this world. If you will not worship God, if you won't love God, then you can never attain bliss. You will always wander in the same cycle of death and birth, and you will always be miserable. And then in Siddhant Madhuri, he also taught us that without Guru, you cannot attain the true knowledge. Guru is must. And then he also said in Siddhant Madhuri that what type of Guru you need. What should be the qualities of a Guru? And then if you get a Guru, then what should be your quality? What should you do with the Guru? How should you behave with your Guru? What should be your conduct and behavior with the Guru? He gave all that knowledge in few pads of Siddhant Madhuri. And then, as Mahaprabhu Chaitanya says, Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sada hari. If you are not humble, Trinadapi sunechena. We have to more humbler than the blade of a grass. Tarorapi sashna, we have to be more forbidding than a tree. And amanina manadena, without expecting any respect. We have to be respectful to everyone. If we are deen, humble, like this, then kirtaniyaha, only then you can worship Sri Krishna. Otherwise, forget. If you are not deen, if you are not humble, you cannot worship Sri Krishna. So, keeping this siddhant in his mind, he wrote Danya Madhuri. After that, in Danya Madhuri, the purpose of writing Danya Madhuri, that to teach us that you feel like I am worthless, I have no virtues, I have no knowledge, I am the abode of ego and anger, passion, greed, all these voices are here in my mind and I cannot get rid of it because our mind is material. If you do something to get rid of one fault in yourself, then again the other faults will bother you. You will do it again. That's why our mind has, since we are doing all these wrong things, because we are the material beings under the control of Maya. So we have been doing for such a long time. That's why our mind has become so much contaminated. We have committed unlimited, uncountable sins so far in our uncountable lives. That's why there is no way to get rid of it except your grace. So, how would you get the grace? To attain the grace, we have to be humble. Like if you are looking for something and that thing is with me. So there are three ways to take that thing from me. Either you would say that, how much is this? I say $10, take $20 and give me this thing. Or if you are very strong, you will kill me and take the thing. And the third way, I request you, please give me, I am dying without it. Please give me. So we cannot pay any price to God because we don't even know where is God. We cannot see God. And how can I make a deal with the money? There is no deal. And he is invincible. Nobody can kill him. Nobody can find him. That's why we cannot say that I am strong and I will snatch it from God. We cannot do that as well. So we have only one way, that be humble. Being humble, if we request God that I need your grace, then He is Karuna Varunalaya. He is the ocean of mercy. He will definitely bestow His grace upon us. And by His grace only we can get rid of these vices. And Maharajji made it more easier. He said, never be worried about getting rid of kam, krodh, lobh, moh, etc. Why? Because you cannot do it. It's not in your hand. Even if you want to get rid of kam, krodh, lobh, moh, anger, passion, greed, etc., you cannot do it because you are under control of Maya. And these are the vices of Maya. How can you get rid of it? Then forget it. Then what should we do? With the kam, krodh, with the anger, passion, greed, etc., we can realize God? No. Then what should we do? Mahadji says, just keep on going towards God. You have to worship God more and more. Remember Him more and more. If you will go towards God, the Maya will automatically be away from you. Like if you are here in Tarzana and if you want to go to San Francisco, you just start going towards the San Francisco. You don't have to be worried that how would I leave this place? How would I leave Tarzana? You don't have to be worried about that. You just start going. Keep on going. It is called Pravitti Marg. There are two ways to be attached to God, Pravitti and Nivritti. Nivritti means you have to give up the things, the wrong things. You have to be detached first, and then you get attached to God. Mahai says, no, don't worry about being detached to the material world. Don't worry about detachment. Just get attached. Go towards God and increase your attachment towards God. The world will definitely, automatically, it will be left. Don't worry about that. So Maharajji has given all that knowledge in a very simple way in his Frameless Madeira. And after that, when you have learned that you have to be humble. Without being humble, you cannot realize God. When you know that, after that, we have to know about the attributes, about the leelas, etc., of our Ishtadev, Sri Radha Krishna. Here, there is one more speciality of Maharaj's literature is found. First of all, I told you that he wrote his poetic literature as well in a sequence. And number two, when he described Sri Radha Krishna, he took each and every part of Radha and Krishna. Like, see, the other poets, they also wrote about their Ishtadev. Surdas ji also wrote about Sri Krishna. And each of the pad of Surdas is so nice, is so attractive. He also wrote in such a beautiful way. Mirabai also described Sri Krishna in such a beautiful way. Tulsidas ji described Sri Ram Katha in such a beautiful way. But they took one aspect of God. Like Surdas ji wrote about the Sri Krishna Leelas of childhood or Brahmar Gita Virah. Tulsidas ji was the devotee of Dasya Bhav. So whatever he wrote in his Ramcharitmanas, he wrote according to a Das, with the Maryada of Das. He wrote everything. But when Maharajji started writing about Sri Krishna from the very childhood to all his leelas, and not only when he wrote about the beauty of Sri Krishna, not in only about the entire beauty of his being, but he wrote about each and everything minutely, separately. Like Maharaji has written one pad, Darshan Dena Nand Dulare. In that bhajan, he is talking about the eyes of Sri Krishna. And he writes, Sudha Payo Nidhi Madhi Vish Ambudhi Matvare Chanchal Drigavare. In one line, he wrote so much. His eyes, he's describing his eyes. And what did he describe? His eyes look like the ocean, the mixed ocean of nectar and poison. The right part of the eye is like the ocean of nectar. Nectar, amrit, is white. And in the center, there is a pupil, and it is black. Black color means poison. So, Sudha Payo Nidhi Madhi, Vish Ambudhi means ocean. It seems like in the ocean of nectar, there is a small ocean of poison. And then the core of his eyes, they are red because he is always intoxicated in love. Sri Krishna, his eyes is full of love. So it is the indication of love. So Matvare Chanchal Drigavare. It seems like there is mad, means the intoxication of love is also there. There are three things in one eye. There are many bhajans in which Maharajji described on each part of Sri Krishna and each part of Sri Radha. Pyari tori beni latak ati pyari. In one bhajan he is describing only about the bread of Sri Radharani. Pitambar Phairan. Once he is describing only the fluttering of Pitambar, or Nilambar Parvari. He is describing only the Nilambar of Sri Radharani, eyes of Sri Radharani, the forehead of Sri Radharani, the hair of Sri Radha, the lotus feet of Sri Radha. You will see the bhajans of on each part of Sri Radharani. So if a devotee wants to do Roop Dhyan, because Maharajji's philosophy, the essence is Roop Dhyan. Without Roop Dhyan, you are doing nothing at all. So, if you are going to Roop Dhyan, so it happens in the beginning. When we start doing Roop Dhyan, sometimes only one part of Sri Radha or Krishna comes in our mind when we do Roop Dhyan. Suppose only feet you are seeing in Roop Dhyan, only the feet of Sri Radharani, then how would you do Roop Dhyan? So Maharajji has given the instructions that if you see the feet of Radharani only, then you do Roop Dhyan like this. And in Radha Trayodasi and Sri Krishna Dvadashi, Maharajji has written on the crown and he described each and every jewel of the crown. Who goes so minutely? I don't think anybody has that much knowledge. Now you will be amazed to read it. He described each and every jewel, that how this jewel is looking like, how that jewel, and how the effulgence of the mixture of all the jewel is looking. He wrote everything so minutely. It is impossible. If you, that crown of Sri Krishna is kept over here, and we are set to describe, we cannot do that. Seeing that, Maharajji did it. In the same way, he did each and every part of the body of Sri Radha, each and every part of Sri Krishna. Not only that, even the adornments of Sri Radha Krishna is described so immensely by Sri Maharajji in Frameless Madeira. And number 3, which is found in Frameless Madeira only, that is all kind of leelas. Like the highest pastime of Sri Radha Krishna is Maharas and Ras. You will find the parts of Maharas and Ras both. So you would know that if you feel like doing Roop Dhyan of Maharas, then how should you do it? If you are ready to do the Roop Dhyan of Ras, you know that how should I do Roop Dhyan of Ras. If the Holi is there, you can sing the bhajans of Holi, do Roop Dhyan of Holi. If Janmashtami is there, you can sing the bhajan according to Janmashtami, Radhashtami. Because he described the little Sri Radha and he described 16 years old Sri Radharani as well. So we find all kind of matter to do Roop Dhyan. So Maharajji wrote Frameless Madeira. And not only that, number 4, he did not write only the beauty or the shringar of Sri Radharani. He also described, and because he has given that knowledge in Prem Ras Siddhant and Siddhant Madhuri, that without shedding tears, without feeling separation from beloved Shyam Sundar and Sri Radharani, we cannot increase our devotion. Atapta tanur natada moshnute divam. The Vedas are saying Like without parching the gold in the fire, you cannot have the real shine of gold. In the same way, without getting separation, you cannot have the purest love. If you want to enjoy the purest love, then you need to have viraha, the separation as well. So he also described from the very beginning, if you are worshipping Sri Krishna right now with das above, even then you can create viraha for him. Kabahun dekhi ho sham, kabahun sakhe अहो हरि कब लो रही हो दूर. There are many bhajans of Vira and Dan Madhuri as well. And then again, when you are Vatsalya, you have seen, I have spoken on this point only once in Austin. You know that. That in each Madhuri, Mahadji has written bhajan of Vira. So we have to create the Vira also. So there are bhajan of Milan and Vira both. There are many pastimes, Sri Krishna. And then he wrote one more thing which is very, very minute. That what are the feelings of Sri Radha towards Sri Krishna, and what are the feelings of Sri Krishna towards Sri Radha. How does Sri Krishna love Sri Radha? How does Sri Radha love Sri Krishna? When they are playing, they are having some pastime in Kunj, that time what kind of talks they have, and when Sri Radha Rani is annoyed, and Sri Krishna is going to please Sri Radha Rani, then what kind of sentiments are there? And what kind of vira of Sri Radha is there, and what kind of vira of Sri Krishna is there? How and when Sri Krishna cries for Sri Radha, how and when Sri Radha cries for Sri Krishna. There are very minute things which you will find only in Frameless Madeira. He has written such a valuable book. We don't understand. We all have Frameless Madeira, but we don't know what we are having, what a precious things we are having in our hand. Later on, many researchers will write thesis on Frameless Madeira, on Frameless Siddhant. It is such a valuable book. And besides that, he has written many other books as well. And amongst those books, there is one book of Sri Maharajji, Radha Govind Geet. 1111 couplets are over there. And then the whole philosophy, each and every part of karma, each and every part of gyan, each and every part of bhakti, everything is written in a very common language, village language. Even one who is completely educated, he can also understand what Maharajji is saying in that book. He has written that book. And then in Brajras Madhuri, Yugal Shatak, Bhakti Shatak, there are many other beautiful books of Sri Maharajji to attain all kind of knowledge about Sri Radha Krishna. Although Sri Maharajji says that in bhakti there is no place of knowledge, no room of knowledge, but knowledge about our Ishtadev, knowledge about how to love Sri Krishna, knowledge about how to increase virah for them, knowledge about their adornments, knowledge about how to do Roop Dhyan. These kinds of knowledge are indispensable to increase our devotion. Without this, we cannot increase our devotion too. That's why he did not give too much knowledge to us, but he wrote everything about Sri Radha Krishna in Prem Ras Madeira. everything. But later on, people could say that he was Jagadguru Tam. He was not only Jagadguru, he was Jagadguru Tam. And how come he wrote the books only in Hindi? Because all the scholars, all the Jagadgurus, they wrote their scriptures in Sanskrit language, in a very difficult language. People make research on them and still they could not understand. How come Sri Maharajji wrote in such a simple language? Was he really knowledgeable or not? They could doubt later on. That's why, to mitigate their doubt, Maharajji has given a beautiful, amazing lecture series of Main Kaun Mera Kaun. He gave that lecture series, Main Kaun Mera Kaun. It is for the layman and it is for the great scholars as well. There are many things that all the great scholars, when they will read, they will listen to it, or when they will read it, they will be amazed. Because Maharajji, through that series of lecture, what Maharajji did, unique thing, that he revealed many scriptures which were almost disappeared. People did not even know the names of those scriptures. And Maharajji revealed them. And he gave the numbers of the quotations taken from those scriptures as well. So he did that. And if you listen to the old lectures of Maharajji, when he used to give the lecture in the oldest hall of Mangar or in Brahmand Ghat, you listen to those lectures. They are only on the practical problems, solutions of sadhana. No, he did not show his knowledge anywhere before. But now, just to give the answer to the scholars, he did that also. So I just explained today that what did he do in a spiritual sphere? Because Maharajji came here for the all-round development of mankind, because it was his concept that spiritualism and materialism both are interrelated and interdependent. If you are looking towards materialism and you are giving more emphasis on materialism and ignoring spiritualism, you cannot attain bliss. If you are ignoring materialism and you are taking only spiritualism, you cannot attain bliss. Because we are the combination of two things: Atma, the soul, which is divine, and the body. This is material. That's why we need the matters of both kind. We need the material matters for the body, and we need divine matters for the spiritual matters for our soul. So that's why he described everything in help, everything. He did many things which are not totally spiritual, but the purpose of doing those things as well was spiritual progress only. If I'll get any time, I will explain it tomorrow. बोले अलबेली सरकार की जय, श्रीमद सतगुरु सरकार की जय. जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे.